18-year-old Zion Brown was the only adult.
Zion's death was not expected.
That's my cousin, you know what I'm saying?
It crushed Foolio.
They killed my little brother.
Yet weeks later, he had to grieve for his brother Bibby.
My car got shut up.
Your car got shot and your girl was in the car, right?
Yeah.
Mourn his girlfriend and almost his mom. In the end, Foolio's family members weren't the only ones that got killed.
The shooting death of a Jacksonville rapper known as Foolio.
So how did the murderers get away with it? Stay with me. Foolio's family members get caught in crossfire. Foolio was locked in a messy rivalry with fellow Jacksonville rapper Youngeen Ace for years. However, it didn't take long for their feud to evolve into a street war involving two of Jacksonville's most notorious gangs, Kill Them All and Ace's top killers. It was at this point that things got bloody, with both sides claiming casualties in a cold street war. But everything started with the 2017 murder of Foolio's 18-year-old cousin Zion Brown. Zion Brown's brutal killing was a textbook gang-style assassination that happened on a quiet Saturday night on Jacksonville's west side. The events leading up to the tragic shooting began to unfold around 1:30 a.m. at a home on North Rawhide Trail. Inside the house, Zion Brown was spending time with his younger relatives. The group included a 16-year-old girl, a 9-year-old girl, and 3 other children aged 6, 9, and 17. Around 1:30 a.m., the peace was violently disrupted when a brick came crashing through the sliding glass door at the back of the house. The 16-year-old girl, in a state of shock, immediately called 911, hoping for a swift response from the authorities. But before officers could arrive, the gunman, identified as 19-year-old DeAndre Thomas, walked through the broken glass door into the kitchen and then into the living room where the victims had gathered. Thomas, an Orange Park High School student, opened fire, hitting Zion Brown and the 2 girls. The scene was chaotic, with screams and the sound of gunfire echoing through the house. Zion Brown, the only adult present, was struck multiple times and collapsed to the floor. By the time the police arrived, the damage had been done. Zion Brown was critically injured, and the 2 girls were also wounded. The officers quickly secured the scene and called for medical assistance. Paramedics arrived and began treating the victims. Zion Brown was rushed to the hospital, but despite the best efforts of the medical team, he succumbed to his injuries. The 2 girls, though injured, survived the ordeal. 16-year-old girl had a bullet removed from her foot, but another bullet remained lodged in her ankle. While narrating the ordeal to the 16-year-old girl whose identity was hidden for safety reasons, told News 4 Jax, "It's scary. That's not a situation for anyone to be in. It's traumatizing seeing all that blood. You don't know what to do, so you panic." The teenager also revealed that Brown was able to name Thomas as the shooter as he lay dying. The investigation quickly led to the identification of DeAndre Thomas as the shooter. According to the arrest warrant, the wounded 16-year-old girl told police she knew Thomas because they were Facebook friends and she knew he was the boyfriend of an acquaintance. Thomas was arrested about 24 hours later near Butler Boulevard and Belfort Road. He was charged with the murder of Zion Brown and 2 counts of attempted murder for the injuries inflicted on the 2 girls. Meanwhile, Thomas's criminal record dates back to 2015 when he was just a minor. At that time, he faced 6 counts of burglary, one of which involved the theft of a gun. He pleaded guilty to these charges and served time in juvenile detention. This early brush with the law marked the beginning of a pattern of criminal behavior. In 2016, Thomas was arrested again, this time for felony drug possession. In February 2017, Thomas faced yet another arrest, this time for drug possession. Despite multiple interactions with law enforcement and the judicial system, Thomas continued down a path of crime, culminating in the tragic events on North Rawhide Trail. In the aftermath of Brown's death, it was revealed that DeAndre Thomas was affiliated with Youngeen Ace's ATK gang, and this inevitably sparked a series of revenge attacks, which culminated in another personal loss for Foolio. But this time, it was even closer to home for Foolio, as it was his little brother who was senselessly murdered. The story begins on a fateful day on February 25th, 2019, when the life of Adrian Gaynor, affectionately known as Bibby, was tragically cut short. Gaynor, who was 16 at the time, was gunned down in the Hilltop Village apartments, a place he called home. The community was left in shock and mourning as news of his brutal murder spread like wildfire. On that day, the Hilltop Village apartments, usually a bustling hub of activity, turned into a scene of chaos and terror. Witnesses reported hearing multiple gunshots echoing through the complex, followed by the sight of Gaynor's lifeless body lying on the ground. The brutality of the attack was evident, with Gaynor suffering multiple gunshot wounds. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office quickly launched an investigation into Gaynor's murder, determined to bring the perpetrator to justice. Detectives combed through the crime scene, collecting evidence and interviewing witnesses. The initial leads were scarce, but the community's outpouring of grief and demand for justice fueled the investigators' resolve. Hakeem Robinson, a local rapper known by his stage name, Xu, was later arrested for Gaynor's murder. Robinson was no stranger to law enforcement, having a history of violent behavior and alleged gang affiliations. His reputation as a dangerous individual individual made him a prime suspect in Gaynor's murder. The breakthrough in the case came when surveillance footage from the Hilltop Village apartments was reviewed. The grainy video captured a figure matching Robinson's description at the crime scene. This crucial piece of evidence, combined with witness testimonies, began to paint a damning picture of Robinson's involvement in the murder. According to the arrest warrant, investigators learned that Gaynor had been in the gazebo in the company of another person when they heard gunfire, causing them to split up and run for cover. A witness claimed he saw Gaynor fall to the ground from the impact of the bullets while still trying to protect himself by covering his head with his hands. The warrant read in part, Robinson ran up to Bibby and shot him at close range in the back of the head or neck as Bibby continued trying to shield himself. The warrant also revealed that Robinson shared several photos and videos following Gaynor's death, where he could be seen bragging about the murder of Bibby. Detectives also scrutinized Robinson's social media presence and rap lyrics, searching for any potential connections to the crime. Robinson's music often glorified violence and gang life, raising suspicions that his lyrics might contain clues about his criminal activities. While the lyrics alone were not enough to convict him, they added to the growing body of evidence against him. On March 10, 2019, Hakeem Robinson was arrested and charged with the murder of Adrian Gaynor Jr. Robinson's arrest was a significant milestone in the investigation. Still, it was only the beginning of a long and complex legal battle. As Robinson awaited trial, more details about his alleged involvement in Gaynor's murder emerged. It was revealed that Robinson had ties to a local gang known for its violent activities. The gang, known as ATK, had a long-standing feud with another gang known as KTA, and Gaynor's murder was believed to be a result of this ongoing rivalry. The gang-related aspect of the case added another layer of complexity to the investigation, as detectives worked to untangle the web of violence and retribution that had ensnared Gaynor. Unsurprisingly, everything led back to the evolving feud between the most prominent figures in Jacksonville's drill rap scene, Foolio and Youngeen Ace. And like his relatives, Foolio had also been the target of several attempts on his life, including the one that eventually left him dead. Foolio killed after surviving multiple shootings. Known for his relentless diss tracks and ongoing feud with Youngeen Ace, Foolio's life was constantly under threat. Nevertheless, one of the most notable assassination attempts on Julio Foolio occurred in 2021. On that fateful day on November 8, 2021, Foolio had just gotten into his car, which was parked at the 2000 block of Ernest Street in Riverside, when some gunmen opened fire on him. During a candid interview on DJ Academic's Off the Record podcast, Foolio recounted the terrifying night when his life was nearly taken. I walk out of the studio, I'm walking to my car. Anytime I walk anywhere, I got my gun in my hand. Walking wherever in Jacksonville, that's just how you gotta be, Foolio explained. As Foolio approached his car, the night took a deadly turn. As soon as I get to sit down a little bit, get to blowing, pop, 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 he continued. I just see two shooting. I had located where the shots were coming from, like, what the going on? I'm dead, I know I'm dead. These blowing. In a desperate bid for survival, Foolio leaned back and returned fire. I shoot my whole clip and them drop they clip at the scene, all type of I thought I popped one of them, he said. The attackers fled the scene, leaving Foolio to race back to the studio, his heart pounding with adrenaline and fear. Convinced he had been set up, Foolio stormed back into the studio, confronting his friend. However, the friend vehemently denied the accusations and even showed Foolio his messages as proof of his innocence. In the interview, Foolio also revealed that he had 3 guns with him at the time of the shooting, 2 on his person and another in the trunk of his car. This small arsenal underscored the constant threat he faced in the dangerous streets of Jacksonville and the need to arm himself. But this interview would not be the first time the rapper would be opening up about the assassination attempt. Barely a few hours after the shooting, Foolio shared a video on social media in which he savagely taunts his shooters. While showing the minor wounds he sustained, Foolio declared, I didn't get hit, I got grazed in the leg. He continued, I shot back in self-defense, my gun is registered. If I did something illegal, the police would put me in jail. A did miss 100 shoots though. They must have thought I was lacking for sure. Foolio did the same thing after he was shot in Houston, Texas in July of the previous year. The Texas shooting was more serious and landed Foolio in the hospital. It was from his hospital bed that Foolio shared a live video.
Shot me but didn't kill me. I'm Kendrick. Stupid.
In October 2023, Foolio found himself the target of another assassination attempt. The incident occurred near the 3100 block of 18th Street W in Jacksonville as Foolio drove through the street in his black sedan. The assailants opened fire on Foolio, leaving the vehicle riddled with bullet holes, and Foolio himself sustaining a bullet wound on his foot. While speaking about the crime, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office said it appears that the suspect or suspects were waiting for the victim and ambushed him. Following the attack, Foolio was rushed to the UF Health Jacksonville, where sources revealed the rapper would undergo surgery for his injuries, which were considered severe. Later that day, a family member confirmed these reports when they asked for prayers for the rapper in a post shared on Foolio's Instagram account. The post read, "Keep Foolio, my son, in y'all prayers. He was shot last night in his hating city." In a rather shocking twist, Foolio's stay in the hospital was cut short when a nurse leaked his whereabouts. Foolio responded by filing a lawsuit against the hospital, alleging that the nurse had compromised his safety. He gave the scoop on the gist while appearing on the No Jumper podcast in December 2023.
I got a lawsuit with the hospital right now.
In the same interview, Foolio maintained that the nurse lost her job following the lawsuit. When asked if the nurse had maliciously exposed his location, the list of dead ops artists said, "I don't know if she did it like intentionally or on some funny or what she was on, but I know it wasn't like the right intentions. I'm going through a lot of You wasn't supposed to post that. You know who I am and what I got going on." Foolio concluded by revealing that he learned that his location had been compromised when several people on the outside reached out to him, warning him to leave the medical facility. He didn't think twice about it and left the facility immediately. In the interview, Foolio also highlighted how his hometown was the most dangerous area for drill artists in Florida. This was a point that he further emphasized while announcing his most recent album, Resurrection. Foolio admitted that there had been multiple attempts on his life, but somehow has survived them all. In an April 4th Instagram post, he wrote, "These last couple months, years of my life been tragic. God been trying to send me a message, multiple attempts on my life. I keep surviving. I keep losing my brothers to jail and graveyards, but I know the Most High doing everything for a reason. He let me walk again for a reason." Unfortunately, Foolio's lucky streak of surviving assassination attempts would eventually come to an end nearly 3 months after he made this post. It all began on the night of June 22nd, 2024. Foolio was celebrating his 26th birthday with friends and close associates. The celebration kicked off at a nearby Airbnb in Florida, where the atmosphere was filled with joy and excitement. As the night progressed, the party was abruptly interrupted. Authorities arrived at the Airbnb, responding to noise complaints from neighbors. According to Foolio's Instagram story, "The police shut us down and kicked us out, forcing the group to find a new location to continue the festivities." Despite the disruption, Foolio and his entourage remained determined to celebrate his milestone birthday. The group then relocated to a Holiday Inn, hoping to continue the night without further interruptions. The hotel, located in a quieter part of town, seemed like a safe haven for the rapper and his friends. Little did they know, danger was lurking just around the corner. At around 4:40 a.m. Eastern Time, the celebration took a tragic turn. As Foolio and his crew were outside the hotel, they were ambushed by unknown assailants. The Tampa Police Department received a 911 call reporting gunfire in the hotel's parking lot. Officers arrived at the scene to find 2 vehicles peppered with bullets. Charles Jones, known to the world as Julio Foolio, was pronounced dead at the scene. The rapper's lifeless body was discovered near one of the bullet-riddled vehicles. 3 others who were with him were also injured in the attack and were rushed to a local hospital. Fortunately, they were reported to be in stable condition. The news of Foolio's death spread quickly, sending ripples through the hip-hop community and beyond. Fans, friends, and fellow musicians took to social media to express their grief and disbelief. The Jacksonville native, who had risen to fame with his heartfelt and gritty music, was gone too soon. As the investigation into the shooting began, the Tampa Police Department worked tirelessly to piece together the events leading up to the ambush. They scoured the area for evidence, interviewed witnesses, and reviewed surveillance footage from the hotel. At first, the motive behind the attack remained unclear, but as the days went by, it became more probable that Foolio's death was tied to the gang rivalry that had haunted the streets of Jacksonville for more than a decade. The bitter rivalry between Foolio and Youngeen Ace. To understand the deadly feud between the Jacksonville gangs ATK and KTA, we must first dig into the origins of their rivalry. This bitter conflict, which has claimed numerous lives and captivated millions through viral rap music videos, began in the gritty streets of Jacksonville, where gang affiliations and territorial disputes are a harsh reality. At the heart of this deadly battle are 2 prominent figures in Jacksonville's drill rap scene: Youngeen Ace, the face of ATK, and Julio Foolio, the leader of KTA. Both rappers emerged from the same tough neighborhoods, using their music as a means to express their struggles and aspirations. However, their paths soon diverged, leading to a rivalry that would escalate into a violent and deadly feud. The origins of the ATK and KTA rivalry can be traced back to May 2017, when 19-year-old Zion Brown, Julio Foolio's cousin, was tragically killed. This event marked the beginning of a series of retaliatory acts that would fuel the ongoing conflict between the 2 gangs. Zion Brown's death was a devastating blow to Foolio and his crew, igniting a desire for revenge that would would soon target Youngin Ace and his associates. In June 2018, during a birthday celebration, Youngin Ace became the target of a retaliatory shooting. Ace was shot 8 times, but miraculously survived. However, 3 others, including his brother, were not so fortunate. This mass shooting further intensified the animosity between ATK and KTA, setting the stage for a deadly cycle of violence and retaliation. The violence between the 2 gangs didn't stop there. In February 2019, Foolio's 16-year-old brother, Bibby, was shot and killed at an apartment complex. This tragic loss only deepened the hatred between the rival factions. Later that year, Foolio and his girlfriend were both injured in separate shootings, further escalating the conflict. On top of that, the ongoing feud between ATK and KTA has been vividly represented in the music of Youngin Ace and Foolio. Both rappers have used their platforms to express their anger, grief, and desire for revenge, often glorifying the violence in their lyrics and music videos. This has not only captivated their audiences, but also fueled the deadly rivalry. Youngin Ace's music often reflects the harsh realities of street life and the pain of losing loved ones to gang violence. His tracks are filled with raw emotion and vivid storytelling, painting a scary picture of the ongoing conflict. One of his most controversial songs, Who I Smoke, released on March 28, 2021, quickly went viral, amassing millions of views on YouTube. The song features Ace rapping over Vanessa Carlton's hit 1,000 Miles, with lyrics that taunt and mock the deceased members of KTA. The song's hook, Who I Smoke, Bibby, Who I Smoke, Techie, Who I Smoke, Lil 9, and Now I Wonder, calls out the names of dead ops or enemies of Youngin Ace and his ATK gang. Foolio, on the other hand, has responded with equally provocative and chilling tracks. A few weeks after Who I Smoke dropped, Foolio released When I See You Remix, a track that references the 2018 triple homicide in which Youngin Ace's brother was killed. In the video, Foolio dances around a graveyard with a printout of the 3 victims, singing Happy Birthday. The video has garnered millions of views and ranks up there as one of Foolio's biggest tracks to date. The viral rap videos have brought the deadly feud between ATK and KTA to the forefront of the public's attention, highlighting the devastating impact of gang violence on the streets of Jacksonville. In the wake of Foolio's death, the rivalry between the 2 rappers has only intensified, with Youngin Ace dropping diss tracks that not only mock Foolio's death, but also hint that he was behind the murder. Youngin Ace left the rap world stunned when he released Do It barely a few hours after death was confirmed. While Youngin Ace doesn't mention Foolio's name, he explicitly raps about gunning down his rivals. In the chorus, he raps, catch his ass and do his ass, you know he finished, flip his ass and smoke his ass, we stand on business. The visuals of the music video are even more disturbing, depicting masked men shooting someone in what looks like the parking lot of a motel. The music video stirred a lot of controversy, with fans slamming Youngin Ace for dissing the dead in such a disrespectful manner. But that wasn't the end of the drama. On June 28, 2024, Youngin Ace struck again with another diss track titled Game Over. The song immediately caught the attention of fans and critics alike, not just for its musicality, but for its ruthless content. The title Game Over itself carries a deadly connotation, suggesting a finality that resonates deeply with the ongoing conflict between Youngin Ace and Foolio. From the very first line, Ace sets the tone for what is to come. The track opens with Ace saying, y'all know I smoke dead people, man. You know what I'm saying? And I smoke 6. Haha. This blatant reference to Foolio's set, 6 Block, leaves no room for misinterpretation. Ace was not just dissing Foolio, he was mocking his death and the entire 6 Block crew. Furthermore, the lyrics of Game Over are filled with explicit references to Foolio's death. Dead on the floor, dead on arrival, Mr. 6. I'm steady screaming out, the long 6, Ace raps, before adding, 4 in the car and 1 of them dead, 3 got hit. I told them they don't want no war with this. These lines are a direct reference to the circumstances of Foolio's death, where he was one of 4 passengers in a car that was ambushed. The specificity of the lyrics leaves little to the imagination, making it clear that Ace is reveling in the details of his rival's demise. But Ace doesn't stop there. He goes on to detail the method of Foolio's murder, rapping, 5.56 increased the murder rate, another body on the way, mask on, get up close, this another closed case, Don Julio shots to the face. Foolio rhymed with Don Julio Tequila, a metaphor that highlighted the disrespectful nature of the track. Some praised Ace for his boldness and lyrical prowess, while others condemned him for crossing a line. The song's explicit content and blatant references to Foolio's death have ignited a heated debate about the ethics of diss tracks and the role of music in perpetuating violence. Criminal lawyer Brian Rivers analyzed the lyrics of Game Over on social media, warning that Ace's decision to release such a detailed diss track could have serious legal implications. Rivers explained, if they can link Youngin Ace to any kind of case, this is coming into evidence. If you dance this close to the sun, you're gonna get burn. Speaking of legal dramas, Youngin Ace is no stranger to such. His involvement in gang-related activities and previous run-ins with the law have made him a controversial figure in the rap world. The release of Game Over has only added to his notoriety, and many are speculating about the potential consequences of his actions. Could Ace's decision to mock Foolio's death so publicly come back to haunt him? Only time will tell. While diss tracks have long been a staple of the genre, the explicit nature of Ace's lyrics and the timing of the release have raised important questions about the ethics of such content. Meanwhile, amidst all the drama and chaos from Youngin Ace's controversial diss tracks, friends and family recently gathered for the funeral service of the fallen rapper. One moment that would have seen Foolio grinning with joy from the great beyond involved his loved ones dissing his rival Youngin Ace. In a viral video, a woman who is alleged to be Foolio's girlfriend can be seen alongside other funeral goers rapping Foolio's Youngin Ace diss track, When I See You. The group raps, went out to eat on his birthday, 4 shot, 3 dead in the worst way, he kept dissing on me, now we smoking 23. This is not the first time Foolio's girlfriend Blanco Monty would be making the headlines since his death. Hours after the shooting, Monty took to social media to pour out her grief and anger. Monty wrote on X, "Y'all took my boyfriend from me. I hate y'all, and I won't be the only one crying." Going by the recent video of the funeral service, there seems to be only one thing on Monty's mind, and that is revenge, thus continuing the cycle of violence that defined much of Foolio's life and now his death. To stay connected on all the Foolio gossip to come, including more inside reports on who killed Foolio and his family members, please click on the card showing on the screen.